This episode is brought to you by Woodward Summer Camps, where adventure meets progression. If your kids love skiing, snowboarding, skateboarding, or mountain biking, Woodward is the ultimate summer playground. With expert coaching, world-class facilities in 5 locations across the country, and a focus on fun, your kids will love building skills and confidence while making lifelong memories. And here's the best part. Ski Moms listeners get $100 off at any summer camp when you use the promo code SKIMOMS at checkout. Spots go fast, so head to woodwardcamp.com and use code SKIMOMS to save. Give your kids the summer of a lifetime. Welcome back to the Ski Moms podcast. It's season 5 and we're hitting the slopes. We're sharing real, unfiltered stories of motherhood on the snow. From conquering the bunny hill with toddlers to squeezing in your own powder days, this season celebrates every type of ski mom. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great season lined up, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Sarah and I are revisiting some of our favorite podcasts from the year in this Listen Again episode. And while this one was extremely popular, we just had to talk about it again because we absolutely loved Brundage. So much so, we came away with all the swag. I bought t-shirts, I bought stickers. I was really smitten with this place. How did you feel about it, Sarah?
This might be my new favorite place. I mean, it was the end of February and people were skiing in short sleeves. And we sat outside for lunch. The terrain, no lift lines, great food. I mean, to me, it was perfection. Remember the little yurt?
I absolutely loved the variety of terrain. There's glade skiing, there's bowls, there's big wide open, like those blue cruisers gave me such joy. I mean, I felt like I was skiing above and beyond my ability level. It's that kind of place.
Yeah, this is definitely a new favorite. I loved everything about it. I mean, we had a bluebird day.
2
And
bluebird days, remember? So
true.
fun story, they gave Sarah and I the option of going on this 5-hour snowmobiling excursion to a hot spring. And I mean, we did think about it because we are always game for some fun adventure. But then I was like, ooh, that sounds like a really long snowmobiling excursion. And then we learned that there's some actual skill involved with snowmobiling. And we were both hard out on that one. So we decided to spend a second day. So we had this second Bluebird day at Brundage to ski. And we absolutely loved it. And we just kind of redid everything we did the first day. We had lunch out on the deck. We started our day on the groomers, and then it got soft enough in the afternoon that we kind of hit some of the bumps. That Lakeview lift absolutely charmed us beyond. And we also just adored the new improvements to the base area because they'd spent money on a childcare center. I mean, in an industry that is just obsessed with high-speed bubble lifts, seeing a resort put money into a childcare center just made me so happy.
And this also was a resort that was just very easy. The parking lot is right there, the rental equipment and the lodge, and then you're right at the lift. It's not, this is not something where you're exhausted before you even load the lift. It was just very well set up. And I do think, on certain days they've got that one of those, parking lot party scenes. I think you're able to park your RV there and people grill out and put out their lawn chairs, which look like a lot of fun. But it was just a really festive, fun vibe. There was all sorts of little things we love, like the wind chime made out of ski poles. We just love all those little things you find when you're skiing around on these resorts.
And they have a pass just for the learning area. You can get a discounted lift ticket for $30 a day for adults skiing, and the kids 6 and under can score their own lift ticket for $20. So if you're just learning, it's a great place. There is no lodging, so that's one tricky bit. You'd stay over in McCall, or even smarter, you would stay at Tamarack Resort, and then you would go back and forth between the 2 locations. And we also got the opportunity to meet, and we fangirled when we met Janna, who is the head of ski patrol there. We were in lift line with her, and I was like, "Are you Janna?" And she said yes, and we had a whole moment with her. And then, remember, she had to race off because there was an incident on the mountain, and we were just so impressed with everything about the mountain. And the fact that she's running ski patrol, I think, really sets the tone for the whole place.
Yes, she's got 42% of the ski patrol is women there. And I think she said the average is 23%. So she's doing something really special. And she was just as cool and amazing to see in person as you can tell when you listen to her in this episode.
So give it a listen. And definitely when you are planning your Idaho ski adventures, we all know the big names in Idaho, but I really think that Brundage should be right up there with the other marquee names in this ski mad state. When you're planning your trip, you cannot miss with a few days at Brundage Mountain. Today, the ski moms are talking to Janna Allen. She is the patrol director and risk manager at Brundage Mountain in Idaho. And she is also working with the National Ski Patrol in the Women's Pro Division as the program supervisor. So we're going to talk to Janna all about National Ski Patrol and getting more women involved. So welcome, Janna.
Thank you for having me, Nicole and Sarah.
We are so excited. We want to get to Idaho. We want to get skiing in other places. So did you grow up skiing there?
I did not. I actually, it's kind of a joke in my family. I was born to be a ski bum. My dad broke his leg skiing at Mammoth, and well, about 9 months later, I was born. So my parents had me on skis as soon as I could walk. We moved to Colorado from California when I was very, very young. So I grew up in a ski family. Luckily, I don't remember learning to ski. I've always known how to do it. So I'm not a great ski instructor at all because I say I teach holistically. I need you to breathe but I'm not great with the teaching part. But so my mom taught skiing at Winter Park and Mary Jane for a ski club. I loved skiing as a kid. I remember being in the back of the car, seatbelts were a little bit maybe optional then. But I remember being warm and laying in the wheel well, driving home from Summit County, Colorado, and just that warm feeling and then in my teenage years, I didn't love to ski. I was into high school. I was a cross country runner. I didn't love skiing. It was cold. It wasn't cute. I don't know. I just wasn't into it. And then my junior, senior year in high school, my stepdad bought snowboards because they were the new thing and they looked really cool. And I got a Burton Elite 150 for Christmas. And the rest is history. I got totally hooked on snowboarding. It guided where I went to college it's now called Western Colorado University in Gunnison. Started my career as a snowboard instructor at Crested Butte when I was in college. And then I was racing on the professional snowboard tour. I was a good alpine and half pipe rider, so I would place well overall. Was actually the national collegiate snowboard champion for half pipe, super G, slalom, and all round, which was a pretty neat experience. But ditched the cross country running in college and went full on in snowboarding, and then transferred out to the University of Nevada. Long story short, parents got divorced, said, kid, you need to go get a job. I started working for Palisades at Tahoe, which had a different name at the time, as a personnel assistant. And then that led into a multitude of other jobs. The HR director left for a while and became the HR director very young. Then I moved into training and development, and then ultimately marketing and public relations manager for the ski area at a very young age. And asked to go out of the office and move into the operations side and was told, you're too pretty to climb lift towers. And yeah, that has served as motivation through my career. I left, went back to school in Colorado where my family was, and became a patroller at Copper Mountain. Worked there for a long time, both as a pro patroller and then as a volunteer some while my son was little. And it just really sparked a career. Kids graduated. I went on to move to Idaho, just looking for somewhere affordable and a little bit different, and found McCall, Idaho, the patrol director here. I thought I was done patrolling. I'd had a neck injury and ended up having neck surgery, and it restored me. And patrol director retired, and I applied for the job and became the patrol director at Brundage.
That's incredible. We always love it when guests just drop that they were national champions in something. I am not familiar with McCall, Idaho.
Yeah.
So tell us about where it is and where you ski and what it's like there.
Yeah. So McCall is about 90 miles directly north of Boise. Boise is a very easy place to fly into. And one of the reasons that we moved here, good airport, it is a beautiful place. When I first moved here, it really reminded me a little bit of Tahoe City in California. We have Payette Lake, which is an all-natural lake with a high overhead dam. And then we've also got Cascade Reservoir. There's tons of smaller lakes around here. It is west central Idaho, just a beautiful mountain community. What I love about it too is our elevation is just a little bit lower. Our ski area, which I work at Brundage, it is a medium-sized ski resort. We are known for the best snow in Idaho. We've got about 1,921 vertical feet, 1,920 acres. We've got a pretty open boundary. We've got some great air skiing that you can still get back to the lift if you know where you're going. And then we've also got 18,000 acres of backcountry skiing that's accessible with our cat skiing program. Our base area is at 5,882 feet, and our summit elevation is at 7,803 feet. So I treat a lot less altitude sickness in Idaho than I ever did in Colorado. We have very limited snowmaking, but we have 320 inches in our base area for our average snowfall, natural snowfall. Yeah, it is just a beautiful place, beautiful mountains. We've also got the Little Ski Hill, which is a community hill with a single T-bar.
And is Brundage a destination ski area, or does it tend to service the community much more of like day trippers?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. McCall has a ton of Airbnbs, which can be good or bad depending on what you think of that. We don't have lodging up at the mountain yet. During COVID, our original owner, Jed, passed away, and Jed and Diane did sell the ski area. We are owned by primarily Idaho Families, a group, and then one of our former GMs actually represents that ownership group. But part of that is we have 351 acres in our base area that was really undeveloped, and a ski area that was in need of some work and some new lifts, some new lodges, things like that. So we are really in progress. We just got a brand new $1.5 million patrol building. We're in the process of building the Mountain Adventure Center, the MAC. That'll be done this fall, and we'll house guest services and ski school and daycare. And it's really beautiful, with the goal of then building a new lodge for our restaurants. And then we've also started some of our residential development as well as some partnerships with lodging. But most of the lodging is down in McCall, which is a 15-minute drive from the ski area itself. So not very far. We've got a beautiful lodge called the Shore Lodge. It's one of the top lodge destinations in the country. It's right on the lake. It's historic. It's gorgeous. And then we've got things like Super 8s and Holiday Inn type hotels as well. And then we've also got a lot of people that have more cabin type properties where it's multiple cabins. So lots of variety of lodging in the area. That's very, very close. A little bit of an A-Basin vibe. We've got a great tailgate area.
There should be like confetti that flies out of the screen when somebody mentions childcare at the base. Tell us, is it a family-friendly mountain? Is it the type of place where you'll see families coming on Saturday and Sunday, weekend after weekend?
Yeah, it's a big family ski area. We run our local McCall Winter Sports Club out of there, but great learning hill. We've got a really nice beginner lift called Easy Street at the bottom. And then there's a really great progression to the Bear Chair, which is kind of the next step up. It's also got a terrain park on it for families. So still, not quite to the top of the mountain, about a third of the way up the mountain is where the summit of that is. And then when you do go all the way to the top, there's some long trails that come all the way down the mountain for families to really just enjoy it and progress together. We have the one main base area, so it's also a very easy ski area for people to say, I'm going to go ski this, you go ski this, and we'll meet back at this lift.
Tell us, about your role at Brundage and, what your day-to-day looks like.
And a day in patrol, you start off with a list of how you think the day is going to go, and you immediately just throw it out the window because it never goes that way. You can never schedule when things are going to happen because sure enough, you schedule an appointment and all heck's going to break loose. So day to day, we have a morning meeting. I'm obviously the patrol director, so I come in early and usually put together the plan for the day with my hill captains. And it could involve either snow safety work, using explosives, in which case we have to go get those items and prepare them for the team. We handle everything on the mountain from your signage to running rope lines, ensuring guest safety, talking about speed and safety programs, to running incidents on the mountain where guests are maybe not having the best day of skiing and we're not necessarily always having the best time, having to do, know the situations that they're in. So we handle medical, anything from very minor injuries to major injuries.
Well, we will touch on the EMT portion, but you had me at explosives.
Yeah.
Is there special training for that? Do you walk around with dynamite in your backpack? I've always wondered, where is it kept? How does it work? And who gets the keys to that particular closet?
Well, things are kept very separate because you don't want to commingle things. They're kept in very secret locations at the ski area. So yes, there's about two of us that have the keys to that because obviously it is a very touchy thing within the ski industry. We're using it in a very different application than a lot of these things were designed for. There is a lot of different types of mitigation out there. You've got some skiers that use what are called rack systems, remote avalanche control, where they can almost push a button on their phone now to deploy these things. We are not at that level. And then there's some skiers that use helicopters and all kinds of things. But where we are at, our hand charges are what we use. I went to a friend's house after work, after doing mitigation one day, and kind of was like, I might have a little gunpowder smell to me because it kind of blew into me that day. And this lady said, oh, what kind of helicopter do you fly? And I was like, helicopter. I carry it in my backpack and we light the fuses between our knees. Using some igniters. So it is a very dangerous part of our work. It does require a lot of training, a lot of oversight. We go as teams. It's very controlled in what we say and the process that we go through and the control routes that we have. So you don't just dive right into it.
And but is there some sort of certification you're getting in order, you have to be able to look up at the snow and know where to light this stick of dynamite as you're holding it. Does this actually look like a big firework? Like are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like you need to make sure the wick is long enough that you can ski fast enough away.
Sarah and I are
a visual.
Sarah and I are picturing like Looney Tunes, back in the day with the long string.
Yeah. Yes, we are not Wile E. Coyote out there with the Acme explosives. It's not actually dynamite. There's different types of explosive configurations that they use because they use different shock waves as they go out to impact the snow in different ways. And there's a whole science behind that. We use a 2-pound charge with a 90-second fuse. We use 2 fuses to make sure that it goes. And then there's an igniter, a technique that goes on there to actually light that. So there's a whole process that goes into that. Anybody that has the ability to carry this has a possessor's license. Some states require that you actually have specific blasters training that you go through in order to do this type of work. But there's a lot of documentation. Obviously, things can't go missing. You have to document where things are thrown, what happened if things don't go explode as they are supposed to or go off as they're supposed to. There's a process to retrieve these devices. It's pretty involved, as it should be, right? It shouldn't be just, oh, here you go, take this in your backpack.
Well, it does sound like, unfortunately, there's a fair amount of paperwork involved in your life in addition to skiing. It's not just all, Janna arrives and gets first tracks on everything. And as we often think like, oh, ski patrol gets to ski everything first and they're just saving the good stuff for themselves. It sounds like there is a fair amount of management involved in what you do as well. Ski season may be wrapping up, but it's the perfect time to shift gears from powder days to patio days with Patio Place at Ski House. With 3 locations in Salem, New Hampshire, where you can shop tax-free, Woburn and Framingham, Massachusetts, Patio Place at Ski House is your one-stop shop for everything you need to transform your outdoor space. From premium patio sets and umbrellas to fire pits and accessories, they've got your summer setup covered. Shop online, then swing by to test it, feel it, and get expert advice from the pros. Your dream backyard starts here, and every order is placed in store. Whether you're hosting neighborhood barbecues or just soaking up sunshine with your morning coffee, the Patio Place at Ski House helps you make the most of outdoor living. Stop by Salem, Woburn, or Framingham and head to skihouse.com. That's skihaus.com to check store hours and get exact locations.
Absolutely. And if you do see me skiing down the mountain, maybe on the side of the run on a powder morning, it might have been the only run that I get all day sometimes. So let me have that moment of joy. I always try to take it either off piste or down the edge of the run. I do ask my patrollers to use the edges of the run too, to just preserve the grooming and just really preserve it for the general public. But our job, in order to get where we need to go, we do have to ski. So, and part of that is, using mitigation techniques. And then, we do tend to put our bodies in a little bit more of a risk before we're going to put a guest in there too. And so, yes, it's a positive, but it's also a dangerous line of work.
And I know you wanted to talk about getting more women into ski patrol. We looked at some metrics. 23% volunteer and professional patrollers nationally are women, but that number is 42% at your mountain. So almost double.
Yeah.
So you're doing something right. What do you think it is? And where do you see opportunities to expand that to other mountains?
I have always taken the philosophy of, and it was a patrol director I had early in my career, that we can teach people to ski, but we can't teach them to be great people. I remain flexible in my hiring and my scheduling. If I can have two women who were patrollers that then maybe ventured into motherhood, but still really want to patrol, and I can have them 2 days a week, two people 2 days a week gives me a full-time patroller, especially if they've had some experience. So I think being flexible, I think the childcare that we have had in the past at the resort, we haven't had it for a couple years because of our development, but it's coming back. That is a huge important piece to be able to provide, whether it's winter or summer, because we also have bike patrol. So I've had all women's bike patrol days and all women's bike patrol. I have had women that have said, I really want to work for a woman and I want to come work for you. I've heard great things and I try to be respectful at being a mom, being understanding that stuff happens with our kids and finding a balance in that, but remaining flexible. And I'm trying to think of really what else. I think just I try to be a really good example out there on the hill. And I have a number of people that are just like, wow, I've never met a female patrol director.
And how is your work with the national organization? How does that dovetail with what you're doing at Brundage? Does it help you get the message to a wider audience? Do you support them or do they support you?
A little bit of both. They have a women's program. The National Ski Patrol is a voluntary organization. You don't have to be part of NSP to patrol. They do offer education for what's called the outdoor emergency care. So you don't have to be an EMT, but they provide it a little more. It's a little more focused, specifically on ski type of injuries. Whereas an EMT, I take that and do a 1 or 2 day class and adapt what they've learned in class to then take it on the hill. With that, the women's program was developed to encourage women to create environments where women felt safe learning, so a little bit safer asking some questions. Sometimes it's controversial whether it should be a women's specific group, but we're also very inclusive in our charter that we wrote for our program. In that, there are men that like to come to some of our classes, and that's okay with us, or people who identify as women. However, that fits into it. We are a welcoming group of individuals, but we're really focused on creating those safe spaces and just improving. My involvement with them is there's can't remember how many divisions. I want to say 9 or 10 all over the country, and most of them have a volunteer representative. But I'm the one that represents the professional division of patrolling, so paid patrollers around the country. And when I came to the group, I came not just specifically for like, here's how we run toboggans. Like women, we know we can run toboggans. We are phenomenal at running toboggans. We know how to use our finesse. We know how to use our lower body. Sometimes we do a little coaching on comfort, but it is not just about the muscle. If you're just going to use muscle, you're going to burn out doing that pretty quick, whether you're male or female. But I really wanted to get involved in this group and was asked to be involved in the group to really look at how to keep women patrolling. We have a lot of women that patrol as professionals when they are in their 20s, and then they may have a life change, marriage, or extra schooling, or the idea that they have to go get a real job or children. And then a lot of women patrollers leave that, and even women skiers between that 30 and 40 age group. So I really want to look at ways that we can support women, whether it's remaining a part-time patroller or, leaves where you then are able to come back. That's kind of what I did. I left for like 6 years. Once my son was big enough to be on a ski team and do some things like that, I was able to come back because I really just thrived in that team environment that we had. But I'd really like to work to develop more programs or work with mountains to develop programs to keep women in this industry in general. And I'm not talking just patrol. I mean, obviously, this is a patrol thing that I'm focused on, but just in general in the industry, even in our patrol falls under our operations division. I am the only woman in the operations division that is on the mountain. But I really want to hear from women to help develop some of these programs that go beyond just feeling strong and empowering because we're pulling toboggans.
Yeah, it sounds like, the keys you touched on. One, I think just seeing you and then that you're building up this critical mass. Like, I don't know, do I really want to sit in one of these little cabins with a bunch of guys, on my lunch break, or would I rather hang out with you? Like,
Yeah.
definitely you, right? And then it kind of keeps gaining from there. And as you said, the flexibility that you're allowing, and then obviously childcare, where then we're not maybe going to lose those people between 30 and 40 as much. Yeah.
Women really add a lot, in that patrol dynamic when you don't have just the whole group of guys in the building. We add to the patrol, we add to the compassion, we add to the dynamic. And overall, I think if you ask the men that work on our patrol, they really love the fact that we have all of us there together as well. It's a really cool environment and very supportive to be in that capacity.
And how young can someone get involved in ski patrol?
The National Ski Patrol does have a young adult program where youth can volunteer. We don't have a young adult program at our ski at this time, but it is a program that National Ski Patrol has. And when we are training these young adults, we're not just training them to be ski patrollers. I mean, it's like any sport. We're training them to be good humans, right? We're training them to take these skills that they learn. And if they can take these skills into other aspects of their life, then we've been successful. Maybe the patrolling is not what they're going to do forever, but they were still part of the team, even if it was for a shorter period of time. As far as age, I typically hire over 21, although this year I had a very eager young lady who talked to me over the summer. She was so professional and persistent. She didn't have her medical credentials, but she called and then she said, I'm in an EMT class right now. I really want to patrol. We actually helped her get a job within our ski school department, which was a great place for me to kind of get to know her, see how her dynamic was with folks. And then I did have a patroller that had to leave mid-season, and I saw this young lady and I said, are you ready to get up to bat? And she was like, are you serious? And she was just so enthusiastic. And I was a little bit nervous of hiring somebody right at that 18, 19 years old, but she really did great. And I think she's
No
gonna be
explosives
really
for her
great.
yet, though.
Not yet, not yet.
Okay, so this is interesting. So we want to talk about the pathway to becoming a ski patroller. So this is a good segue to that. So you were talking about the ski skills. Some of them you can train. You were talking about the human skills. Let's talk about the things you've kind of got to check off on the resume. You were mentioning, do you need to have an emergency medical training, or that's kind of a nicety? This episode is brought to you by Loam, the ultimate mountain biking pass for families who love to ride together. With access to top bike parks across the country, your Loam Pass will make it easy to plan summer adventures on two wheels. Whether you're new to mountain biking or raising the next downhill champion, Loam has a trail for every rider. Pass holders get over 100 days of riding at more than 50 destinations across North America. Explore bike parks, shuttle services, and exclusive perks with your pass. Ski Mom listeners get 15% off with code SKIMOMS2515 at loampass.com. That's LOAM pass.com. And our discount code is SKIMOMS2515 for 15% off your pass. Hit the trails with Loam and the Ski Moms.
Yeah, again, there's no national standard on what you have to have. OEC is typically kind of the minimum that you need to have, which is the outdoor emergency care. I do have a couple patrollers that have that, but I also have a number of them that have that plus their EMT. As a state licensed EMS, we're able to just provide a little bit higher level of care on a few things that were important to us. It also, as a patrol director, gives me a little more oversight where people are background checked, fingerprinted. We're trained to cut people's clothes off in an emergency and deal with people in a vulnerable situation. So those are things that to me are really important. So you can't just be an EMT and say, I'm an EMT, I want to be a ski patroller. And that's where the National Ski Patrol does bridge, because that OEC is recognized throughout the country for that basic medical certification. Community colleges do EMT classes, various patrols. You can find classes for OEC through National Ski Patrol. our local fire department, thank you, Donnelly Fire, big shout out. They have done some free EMT classes. And what I found is, especially with those EMT classes through our rural fire department, it's given folks a ladder to climb. So maybe they came in with their OEC and then they see us functioning as EMTs and they're like, I want to do that. I want to take the next step. And it's given them that opportunity to climb. So,
And you were talking about, I mean, we definitely think about the sleds when we think about ski patrol. There's no reason that a 130-pound woman couldn't control a sled with a 250-pound guy in it. You're telling me that the laws of physics do not apply to this, or there's a way that she's going to finesse her way down in this situation?
yeah, absolutely. Obviously we take into consideration the terrain that we're on, the conditions of the snow. You don't have to do it alone either. There's what's called a tail roper. So the tail roper can assist you through moguls or providing that extra leverage, whether you're going across a hill or need an extra help for braking. But the toboggans have a chain brake underneath them that we drop. And that chain brake does help you to stop. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a super petite woman. I'm 5'7" and I've always been pretty strong, but I have worked with a number of women that are considerably physically smaller than me, but equally as strong, if not stronger, because that toboggan is designed when you leverage those handles to engage the brake a little bit more or release the brake. So yeah, if you're using those skills, and then we have typically as women have that advantage of that stronger lower body. It's real easy to grab the horns of a toboggan and curl your arms and be in a curl position, but your arms are going to burn out really fast. But when I need to release my chain, I do a mini squat. My arms are straight and I slide back in the horns and I use my quads and I lift that toboggan. I have taken the largest patient I think I've had he was a linebacker of a college football team. He was very, very strong young man. And I was a little intimidated when I first put him in the toboggan, but I also knew that I could do it.
Yeah, I can't imagine trying to get down like a mogul field with one of those, but I'm sure it's all been done. But what I'd love to talk about is what are some of the getting just to safety for all of us on the hill. So we're not in the toboggan. Where are some of the maybe hidden dangers we should be thinking about? Just some tips from, the things that you've seen on the hill.
Yeah, I mean, as women, statistically, we are far more likely to suffer an ACL injury. I had my first one in my career 3 years ago. It was tough. It was tough to miss the season. Did a lot of dispatching, and so going into the season strong, aerobically fit, you will have a much better time skiing. And as women, as we get a little bit older, we do need to be very careful about our strength and building muscle and maintaining muscle. So I do walking with a weight vest because when I do walking, I don't tend to run a lot anymore, and staying strong, a lot of preseason training. I mountain bike a lot in the summertime. I've never loved lifting weights, but I do love kettlebell workouts. Those are phenomenal. There's a lady, Heather Robertson, that does some great workouts for free online on YouTube. She's one of my favorites, and she's got some great like 12-week programs that are completely free and you can do
Hers
them at home.
Her workouts are so targeted. I know exactly who you're talking about. And she's silent. She does like a little intro because I don't want to hear the yada, yada, yada. And it's just little pop-ups. She's got anything from like a 10 minutes to an hour-long workout. So I often take them to the gym with me because I don't remember the sequence of things to do. That's such a good recommendation, Janna. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Nicole, I do exactly the same thing. I take my phone and I'll put her videos on, or I'll do them. I often get home later in the evening. It gets dark here early in the wintertime, and I'll go up to my she shed over the garage and do a workout with my kettlebells. And but yeah, it's hand weights, kettlebell, yoga mat.
100% do this from your basement, your living room. And to your point, you don't need a big square footage. The size of a yoga mat usually accommodates her workouts.
Yeah, low impact. She's got HIIT workouts, AMRAP workouts, kettlebell strength programs. So I would just want to say thank you to her for offering those free out to us in the community. Not sponsored by her or anything, but I'm just grateful that somebody believes in fitness that can give that to us. And she's very talented.
Since we have an expert here and you were talking a little bit about preventative, let's say, God forbid, I want to knock on all the wood that something happens to us or our kids on the mountain. what do we do in that situation? Man down. What are our next steps? And how do we make sure that they are safe after they've fallen and they can't get up, can't put all the pieces back together? They're going to need help from a ski patroller. What are the steps we take to keep ourselves safe and get down and get the help we need?
Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing we always ask, right? If you are there and you're the rescuer, are you safe? So scene safety, make sure if you can, skis crossed above that person or place somebody above them. Even if it's a bystander, hey, can you help me for a minute? Get ski patrol on the phone. Most ski patrols have a dispatch number. It's listed typically on your season pass. But put it in your phone before you go skiing if you ski at someplace all the time. Trail maps have them, but find out what that number is because that's going to be your fastest. I mean, we will have 911 call us. If a 911 calls in, they'll transfer the call to us. But if you know the direct line to dispatch, that is your first line of defense. Know what trail you are on. That's always helpful. And if you call us, please don't become a moving target. They're very hard to find. So if you need us, stay where you are. We are there to help you. You don't have to fight your way to the bottom with an injured knee or injured shoulder. Those are the most common ones. But if you have somebody that's more significantly injured, get the details that you can to us right from the start, because the more information that we have, the more resources we can allocate and get the right equipment down to you as soon as possible. But having that contact information is really important. We're also there if you are disoriented, don't know where you are, or you have a separated party. Separated parties, a lot of the time people call and the person is either still skiing down or they got on the wrong lift. Carry your cell phones and keep them warm in your pocket. So many people have dead batteries or their phone is in their car. And especially if you have teenagers that have a phone, have them take their phone with them. We use a program called AirFlare that if you are a subscriber to it and you call us, we can just type in your phone number and it will automatically give us your location on the mountain. You have to be within cell service. So we're lucky we have great cell service on the mountain. But we also, if somebody calls for a lost person, we can send a message to that person. Hi, this is Brundage Mountain Ski Patrol. We're looking for you. Please give us a call back. And then they can choose whether to share their location or not. I mean, they might be in the bar, don't want you to know, something like that. So those are great tools. You can also connect using like your family shares where people are at on the mountain. So lots of great things like that. But yeah, get us moving. Even if we get down there and then we find out that you're just fine, that's okay. We just got to go ski for a run, right? So don't be afraid to call patrol. We're there to help you on the mountain. We are very approachable. We try to be super approachable. I know a lot of times people think we're just there to be the ski cops, and that is the least enjoyable part of our job. It is something we have to do, but we really love talking to the guests. We're so lucky to be able to be free most of the time. Most people that work for a skier that are on the snow are attached to a lesson or a chairlift because they're bumping chairs or they're scanning tickets. Like they're not always super available to have a conversation. And we are. When you see us in the lift line, like take the lift with us. I always ask my patrollers to ride with the guests. People love to talk to us and we love to share the great secrets of the mountain.
One question I do want to ask after seeing the great Gwyneth Paltrow incident of, I don't know, what is it, 2021?
Yeah.
It's like, so let's say you have enough people in your party. Do you send somebody after the person who maybe you got hit? You're always going to, of course, leave somebody with the injured person. But, is it important to get those details? This is the worst case scenario. But I know knowing the code, you're supposed to stop. If you hit somebody, you are 100% supposed to stop. Make sure that they're okay. You exchange information. It's just like a car wreck. But is it really important to get that data from that person? Let's suppose there's a serious injury and you're in a party of 3. Is somebody in chase mode or do we leave that to the professionals?
Yeah, I mean, we would prefer you probably left that to the professionals if you are able to ski with that person. We don't want to have a conflict a huge conflict on the mountain, but get a really good description of that person. Ask the person to stay. Yes, if we have a collision, both parties should stay in there. There's times where, are you okay? You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And then somebody skis away and then we get called because that person all of a sudden is like, oh, I'm not okay. And so they didn't necessarily ski away intentionally. They thought everybody was okay. But yes, it is your responsibility code of skiing, number 10, that was added, that if you're involved in a collision, that you exchange information. If you're not comfortable doing that, you call patrol or another skier employee. Patrol is typically best trained to deal with that. to assist with that. And then we will basically kind of like, we're just sort of an incident investigator. We're going to take both parties' statements, write them down. I have a little tear off tag on the cards we use, kind of swap information, just in case something comes up later. You wake up the next day and things are just not what you thought that they were. But we basically gather that information. For us, if we can get a description of the person, we will certainly look for them on the hill with that description. We often find them.
We don't want vigilante justice on the mountain. So
No,
I
no,
think
no.
that's really important. And Sarah always brings up that if you're not getting your kids lessons, how do you teach them the code? I know we
Yeah.
posted at every mountain, and it's so important that, if you can, as a parent, a little tip is if you can ride with the ski patroller and then maybe say like, hey, I've got my teenage son here. Is there, anything you would want him to know about skiing at Brundage Mountain?
Yeah.
Like use the knowledge and the wisdom of those very influential. I mean, kids really look up to patrollers.
Yeah.
It's amazing the power.
I'm so appreciative of our local coaches with the McCall Winter Sports Club program that really make that safety, whether it's lift safety and riding the lift safety, and when they raise the bar and managing our speed on the mountain and really teaching that etiquette of skiing. That is one of the most important parts of a lot of these ski programs that our kids are in. And absolutely, lessons are so important to set the foundation, not just for kids, but for adults that are new skiers as well. You will enjoy your ski experience so much more if you learn to ski efficiently and well, and you will resist. You will be more resistant to injury as well. We talked about the knee injury, but wrists, shoulders, those are also common injuries that we have. There's some TikTok trends with riding on people's skis and snowboards going down the mountain. And I've seen some very significant lacerations with things like that. So we discourage and we'll stop any of those TikTok type of trends. Speed is always a tough one. It's how do you determine that someone's going too fast? Is it an empty slope? Are there other people on the slope? Yes, the person skis like a Olympic downhill racer. They're phenomenal, but somebody could pop out from the trees, from the side of the run or a trail merge. And there's just speed, I think, is another one. We just really work to try to slow people down, but it's a tough one. We cannot be everywhere. And I'll see comments about ski patrol really needs to do this. And yes, we can to an extent, but people also need to our gear is phenomenal now. And people just really need to consider what happens if you are involved in a collision and you have that speed, not just to yourself or if you just fall at that speed.
Yeah, I mean, Nicole and I talk a lot about, we almost feel like we're skiing defensively, like being a defensive driver.
Yeah.
And if it gets really crowded, we'll just say the day's done for us. And we don't want to ski where a lot of times they'll have, they might not hit me, but they will touch me as they ski by. And that's a little too close for me. And that's when we kind of know it's time to call it a day.
Yeah.
It gets like that maybe on holidays and weekends. I don't necessarily get involved in,
Yeah.
chasing them down or anything, but, try to avoid them. Maybe let that group of snowboarders go by.
We're not afraid of yelling. Slow down, though. Ski moms
Okay.
are not afraid of being speed patrol.
I will say, Sarah, on the snowboarder thing, being that I identify as a snowboarder, it is my heart. I love my snowboard. I mostly ski and I tele-ski also, but I see far more skier collisions in reality. And so it is, I don't want to give one group a bad name. Yes, there are some bad eggs in both.
Very good point. Yes.
One thing I will say is we often in skiing congregate on the same runs. And you'll go one run over and there's nobody there.
Yes.
And so maybe don't feel like you have to leave. Try to find those areas that just get ski less. Ask patrol, hey, are there runs that get ski less? We have them and we will tell you where they are. But also just in planning a family vacation or planning skiing, Christmas time, it's going to be busy. Spring break, it's going to be busy. Do you have a midwinter break? Do you have a 3-day weekend? Those 3-day weekends tend to be busy as well. Can you pull your kids out of school for a day and go have a family day that's skiing? There's huge value in that. Maybe not all the time where your kids are going to get detention, but it is okay to go enjoy that time. But try to find
and start early. Be the family that's the first on the lift. And it's okay if you, after the Bloody Mary crowd rolls out, maybe you guys are rolling in and going to the climbing wall, or you're going snowshoeing. It's okay to not ski bell to bell
Yeah.
as well. And speaking of bell, our alarm is about to go off
Oh, no.
for our time with you. And we do love to talk about the après-ski scene. I know as a professional in the industry, maybe your day looks different. Do you go out with the boys for a beer? Maybe share with us, as a professional, how the ski day ends. And then if you do get in one of those beautiful snowboarding days, how would you love to run that day?
Après ski, yes. I love to have a beer with my crew after the day. Um, at times, sometimes they are having a beverage and I'm finishing up kind of the day in my office. We work really long hours, so I got to get up pretty early the next day. So I won't say I'm a party pooper, but I need my rest. And that is really important to me. There's great après. We've actually, one of the favorite après things is we've got a great hockey scene here in McCall. We've got a huge ice rink. We've got a great hockey scene. We've got curling teams, bumper cars out there. During the daytime, it's not only après ski, but if you have folks that aren't into the skiing, we've got a brand new library that's phenomenal. Snowmobiling. Oh my gosh, our snowmobiling in this area is great. You can snowmobile. It's the hot springs. You make a reservation, you snowmobile in, you get really warm. You'd think you'd be freezing on the way back. You're not. It's just phenomenal. We've got a tubing hill that's open in the evenings at the activity barn. There's Nordic skiing around. It's a great scene with that. We've got the best snow in Idaho around here.
And then if we were to find you at the hockey rink, are you somebody who's like sipping a hot cocoa? Is there one particular thing, if you're celebrating that you love to, that's, maybe specific to McCall that we'd need to find when we're there? So
Yeah.
I'm imagining there's got to be something great with potatoes somewhere on the mountain or in town. I mean, it is the potato capital of the world.
It is, but we have great dining around here, like family dining and some great chefs and restaurants. So McCall would not be the potato capital. We're not really near where they're growing the potatoes. I would say we've got a yak farm that has yak meat that supplies local restaurants. We do have a lot of ranching, so we've got great meat around here. And then, lower elevations, great fruit and vegetables that come from very close by, Washington apples and other things that come in from within the local area. Yeah.
All right. Well, so we're going to go curling and then try maybe have a huge steak afterwards and maybe some yak if we're feeling really crazy. Well, we are so excited to research more about the ski patrol, encourage women to try it. I think that maybe volunteering is a good first step if they before they become professionals and hired on. And we will link in the show notes to information about how to get started and start doing the research on the journey.
Yeah, and it is really great for our kids to see us as women doing these kind of jobs. It's really cool. I have a couple women moms that work for me, and it's so cool to have their kids come up and do sweep with us. I've got one that had to go to ballet, and then her brother's like, well, what do I get to do after school? Mom's like, do you want to go sweep the mountain? So it's really, really cool for us to incorporate some of those kids into what we do.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. It was so great meeting you and learning all of this. And we hope to see more and more women on ski patrol, and we'll be looking for them and cheering you all on.
And I will not chase anyone down, I promise. I might yell, but I won't chase them.
Yeah, I've been known to have someone said, like, one time I was hollering at somebody down the hill. They're like, whoa, you really whipped out that mom voice there.
Hey, ski moms, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and got some great tips for your next family ski adventure. If you had as much fun listening as we did making this episode, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes. And don't forget to rate and review us. Your feedback helps us bring you more of the content you love and helps other ski moms find our podcast. Plus, we love hearing from you. So whether you're on the slopes or just dreaming of your next snowy getaway, stay connected with us. Follow us on social media, share your favorite episodes with your friends, and let's keep this awesome community growing. This summer, Ulster County is the perfect place for a family-friendly getaway. From farm festivals to fireworks, there's something for everyone, just a short drive from the mountains. For family fun, you can pick strawberries and enjoy farm fun at Kelder's Farm. Watch homemade boats float down the river at the new Paul's Regatta. Or how about a kid-free trip to enjoy wine and live music at the Robabero Winery? Everyone will love celebrating the 4th of July with a fireworks spectacular over the Hudson. And don't miss Maverick Family Saturdays in Woodstock with live music made just for kids. Looking for more? Ride the Catskill Mountain Railroad's Ice Cream Express or visit the Teddy Bear Museum in Kingston for a dose of nostalgia. Make Ulster County part of your summer plans. Learn more at visitulstercountyny.com.